For more on that Leafs management news conference, here's the host of OverDrive, Brian Hayes. So Leafs management harping on the fact that nothing else matters except winning, Brian. Team president Brendan Shanahan said there are sacrifices that need to be made here in the offseason. So does that tell you management is officially ready to call it quits with the core four?
No, it doesn't. Actions will speak louder than words. And I wasn't anticipating Shanahan or Pelly or anyone else coming out today and saying, we're trading Mitch Marner or we're trading John Tavares. That obviously was not going to happen. But actions will speak louder than words. I've heard this before from the Maple Leafs, front offices of the past, not only the Shanahan era, eras prior to that. They always say the same thing. It's not about selling jerseys. It's not only about making money. They want to win. Proof will be in the pudding. And I think it's long overdue because this team has to change. The core four has to change. Maybe the core five, if you want to include Morgan Riley. There's a lot of things that are going to have to move in a different direction with this team. And what I heard today was they might be open to that. But how uncomfortable are they willing to make it? That is the question, because Brendan Shanahan returning, I think that's the biggest news today. A lot of people were wondering, will he come back as the president of the club? That was established immediately. He's still the man in charge. Everything will land on his desk in the end in terms of big player personnel decisions. So if you're going to make a move, are you willing to make life uncomfortable for Mitch Marner, for John Tavares, and at least pose the question, will you waive the no move because we don't want you here anymore? I'll believe it when I see it. It doesn't matter what they had to say today.
Well, the GM, Brad Treliving, also saying that he felt strongly that a new voice was needed behind the bench for the Leafs. But do you think the Leafs are really just a new voice away from, having on-ice success in the postseason?
No, I don't. Not in the postseason. I mean, they've had Sheldon Keefe here. Mike Babcock was here. They lost in 2018 and 2019 in the playoffs with Mike Babcock. And prior to that, against Washington, the first year they made it with the Matthews and Marner and Nylander era. So I do believe the coach is important. I'm not downplaying that. I think it was the right move. I think Sheldon Keefe knew it was coming, right? Coaching carousel in the NHL, it turns over quickly. And I think to Shanahan's credit, he's been very patient, very loyal to his guys. The core four, Morgan Riley, Sheldon Keefe, very loyal. Even last year, he said he wanted to bring back Kyle Dubas, and then things changed. So he's a loyal guy, and they finally moved off the head coach in Sheldon Keefe. So they have to get this right. Whoever the next head coach is going to be, they've got to get it right. He has to play an integral role. There's no disputing that. But I just don't see what a new voice is going to do. Scotty Bowman in his prime, I'm not sure he can get all these guys to perform in the playoffs. There's too much data there, Glenn. There's too much of a track record. We're not talking a year or two. We're talking 8 years. Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Riley, they've been in the playoffs together for 8 years. Tavares has been here for 6. They've won one round. I don't think there's unless it's a magician, I don't see how it's going to change simply with a new voice.
And the goal scoring and the power play and certain things continue to be a problem every single year. We also had a chance to hear a new CEO of MLSE, Keith Pelly, speak for the first time. He talked a lot about unity and chemistry. Do you think whoever they pick to be the next coach should have input on personnel decisions as well?
No, I think there's already too many chefs in the kitchen. I mean, who doesn't have a say in things? You got Pelly up there, you got Shanahan, you got Treliving, you got Shane Doan, you've got assistants. These guys, they get the biggest staff in pro sports, right? Like everyone is involved somehow, and I think that might be a part of the problem. Is there's too many chefs in the kitchen. You hire the coach, you tell the coach to coach. Do that, right? Prioritize coaching. Make sure you know where you want to take this team, but you can't have a say in who Brad Treliving and Brendan Shanahan are going to bring in or what they're going to do with the core four or whatever. Also, the new coach, he hasn't been here, right? He doesn't know what's happened in the past. He knows on a surface level, but he doesn't know exactly what's been going on behind the scenes. So I think even to be fair to the players, I don't think the new coach can come in and say, I don't like this guy or that guy's not going to fit. I just don't think that's a working relationship that's going to have success in the future.
All right, one more for you. As far as those personnel decisions go, the Leafs' hands a little bit tied considering both Marner and Tavares have the no full move clauses. If they're both reluctant to kind of waive those this offseason, where do you think Toronto goes from here?
Well, ultimately, they gave them those deals, and there's not much they can do. I mean, the Players Association will be behind them, their agents, their families, the players themselves. If the players decide we're not moving, we're not waiving, there's really not much more you can do. But it gets back to my original point, and this is where actions will speak louder than words. Brendan Shanahan, Brad Treliving, maybe they do actually finally see an issue here and finally want to change it. Again, I'll believe it when I see it, but maybe they actually do want to make that happen. If so, you have to be proactive. They have to be the ones, Shanahan, Treliving, they have to be the ones to go to Marner or Tavares or whoever it's going to be and make it clear. You are not a part of this team anymore. We don't want you to be here anymore. We need to change, and we've targeted you. And it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. Again, these guys, by all accounts, beloved in the room, good guys. It's not a personal thing. It's about trying to win hockey games. Do you really want to win a Stanley Cup? Do you really want to do whatever it takes, like Vegas has done in the past, like other teams have done in the past? Then at a minimum, you owe it to your fan base. If you really, truly believe, finally, Core 4's got to be broken up, something's got to change. Shanahan and company, they have to be willing to make it uncomfortable.
And I got to think, if you approach Mitch Marner with, we want to trade you, we don't want you here anymore, is he really going to want to stay around if that's the message,
Yeah, exactly.
Right? As it stands currently, over 53% of next year's projected cap is tied up with the Core 4 alone. Thanks for this, Brian.